proceedings in the Rebecca Park case to move forward, we are finding answers to some of the questions viewers have been asking the most. One we've seen a lot of is, because Park's body was found on federal land, does that mean this case would be moved to federal court? Allie Baxter got those answers. She joins us now live from the Content Center. Allie.
Yeah, Mark, Michigan actually has more federal land than any of the other Midwest states. And according to the U.S. Geological Survey, that land totals more than 3.6 million acres, including the Manistee National Forest, where Park's body was discovered.
The venue of it is not necessarily where the body is found. It's ultimately where the crime was committed.
Adam Dreher has a long history as a prosecutor at the local and federal level, including time in Wayne County prosecuting homicide cases. We asked him if where Rebecca Park's body was found changes anything in the investigation or legal proceedings.
It sounded like the Wexford County prosecutor had evidence to suggest that the crime started at the house. And so I think that continuing action will still allow the people of the state of Michigan to prosecute this case.
1/10 of Michigan is federal land, including the Manistee National Forest, where Park was found. But as Adam explains, this doesn't mean the case will be automatically prosecuted federally. Instead, it gives the federal government the option to prosecute if they want to.
There's a Supreme Court opinion that really reflects that both the state of Michigan and the federal government have the ability to prosecute any crime that's committed. But the issue really becomes resource allocation. In other words, if one sovereign, here the state of Michigan, is already going forward, already has a case, I don't necessarily think the federal government would jump in and take this over.
Adam also says the seriousness of the allegations against Brad and Courtney Bartholomew would already ensure they would face the penalty of life in prison.
You know, with Michigan already having such a severe penalty for these, I would be surprised if the federal government also tried to get in on it as well.
It's Michigan's strict penalties that Adam points to as a reason for why it's uncommon for the federal government to involve themselves in a case like this.
And I can assure you that the penalties for murder in the first degree do not provide any sort of discretion to the sentencing judge whatsoever. If a defendant is convicted of murder in the first degree, the court must impose a life without parole sentence, meaning there's no parole board. That individual will be in prison for the rest of their natural life.
Michigan was the first state to get rid of the death penalty, but some have asked if that penalty would be back on the table if by chance Courtney and Brad are convicted on the federal level as well. Adam says he doesn't think so.
Even if the federal government were to come in and prosecute this, they would still rely heavily on Michigan law in terms of the penalties associated with it.
Meaning even if Courtney and Brad are tried with federal procedures, the charges would still be grounded in Michigan law, which forbids the death penalty.
That although right now they are accused of some very horrible acts, at this point they are still accusations. And so certainly we have to allow the process to determine what happened in the right procedure.
We'll continue to follow any updates in this case as it moves forward. Live in the Content Center, Allie Baxter, back